Seeking well-rounded, experienced developers is very critical for your startup. When you have a new startup, you have a very new product, and you essentially don't have any code for that product. And having junior developers or unexperienced developers work on that product at the beginning introduces a lot of code debt. And essentially what code debt is much like financial debt, in that you eventually have to pay off that debt. And so it's important to have experienced developers work on your initial code base and then eventually get slightly less experienced developers to help with the existing code base and mature it over time. There are two types of developers. There's generalists and then there are specialists. Generalists can wear multiple hats and can focus on different parts of your application. Specialists tend to focus on a very specific problem, such as scaling or optimizing a specific type of technology. And that's generally not what you need to do at the very beginning. Startups should really look at generalists.
At the beginning of companies, with early stage startups, it's really important to incentivize each of the founders in the right way. And very frequently people will struggle with salaries, etc. The key over the years has been equity. Equity, it would seem, motivates people best because it's basically based on fairness. Each individual should own the same amount of a given company, or at least should own a fair amount based on what they're putting into the company. And the way to do that is to give them shares or to give them equity in proportion to their inputs. So very frequently, if you have two founders, each gets 50% of the company. Another key concept is vesting. If one individual leaves a company, they're going to end up with that share irrespective of the work they put in, unless you create a vesting schedule. And a vesting schedule means that over time, the individual gets the shares that they were originally allocated. So after the first year, for instance, they'll get 25%, and then in subsequent years, they'll get a specific percentage for each month that they work.
It's my personal opinion that remote talent is going to be the next buzz in the software industry. It is hard enough to find talent locally, and so what a few companies have started doing is looking at remote talent, and there have been some great blog posts by companies such as Stack Exchange and 37 Signals writing about how other companies should do this. But currently very few are, which is another reason why it's a really good opportunity. I'm talking about hiring full-time developers that may even be in the same country or province, but not necessarily in the same city. You still need a centralized location generally, so maybe 50% of your company would be located locally, and then the other 50% could be a distributed team.